Hi, welcome to Debs Cooper, Global Stressologist. So jiggle around in my chair. Thank you for joining me today as we talk about dealing with regret. I'd love to know if you're, muting that one. I'd love to know if you're on the call, on the video live, or if you're a replay. That would be awesome. So I'm just going to bang that there. That would be very helpful. So dealing with regret, gosh, this has definitely come about from talking to clients this week. And I just want to break it down because regret is yuck. That's possibly the nicest way of saying regret is yuck. And when I adjust this here, when I talk about regret, totally organized today, regretful of that. It means you become unproductive. It means you have less energy, you have a crazy mind chatter. And when I talk about crazy mind chatter, our mind just races and races and races, and we tend to have sleepless nights or sleepless times, whether you sleep day or night. So it's yuck. So I'm going to show you today how to deal with regret and how to unpack it. So when I was thinking about regret, what are the things we deal with regret? And one of the things I was thinking about was partners. And sometimes people still hold on to stories or hold on to a belief of something that they had the best partner in the world right back at high school or even primary school when you were 6 and you fell in love for the first time. I don't remember any of that. But they hold on to the belief of they let that person go at high school, whenever it was, the mother of your children, the father of your children, whatever. There's also regret around jobs. There's regret around cities, countries. I have very fond memories of when I was living in London, and I still go, gosh, if only I hadn't have left London, it would have been so much more fun. I would have done this, this, and this. So it's human nature to have regret. I will just tell you that straight away. But there's definitely that. There's our social circle. When we finish with our social circle and go to another social circle, or somebody's done something that we're challenged by, so we've stepped ourselves out. Workshops, when we haven't attended a workshop and someone else has attended a workshop, or any of these decisions, any decision really, money decisions, anything that has weighed on your mind, and you're allowing the regret to come in and play over you. So basically any opportunities that can turn into a loss, from your perception, a loss, can give you instant regret. I was talking to a lovely lady this morning and we were talking about FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And that is definitely a regretful time. We go, gosh, I wish I could do this, but I'm not going to be able to do it because it clashes with something else. And there's that whole fear of missing out. So I'm clearly giving you a lot of ideas about regret. And I'm sure you have your own ideas about regret and how you handle them, or how you sit in it, or even just how you get so frustrated. And it's okay, but there is a way around with a mindset flip. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be here talking to you about that. But there is a way around it, so you don't have to sit in the shite of regret for a long time. So when we look at regret, I find there's some key factors. And the key factors are yourself, anyone else, and it's who you're going to peeve off, yourself, or live to your own choices. Anyone else, a family member, someone who's close to you, colleague, any of those things. And who else did you miss off that list? So think of yourself, think of who else outside of you, and who else did you miss off that list? Because sometimes the first people come to mind and then we don't tend to think about the next lot, but there's another ripple effect from that. So there's yourself, those others, and who else? And then what did you miss out on? So when I say what did you miss out on, what did you specifically miss out on that you can see? So maybe we think about this and we think it could be money. You miss out on money. You miss out on credentials. So when I talk about credentials, it's about, look at me, I have an amazing opportunity, I can step up or not. Is it a social influence? So what opportunities are they that you perceive you're going to miss out on? And you really have to get clear on this and break it down, because if you don't get clear and break it down, it's just going to become more regretful, more confusing, more mind chatter, more frustration in here, and you ain't going to be productive. And I say ain't because you ain't. You aren't. Queen's English. You aren't going to be productive. You're not. You're just not. You know? Think of those times you've regretted things. So one of the worst things you can do is when you're sitting in regret is to compare. And so when I talk about comparing is dishonoring who you are right now and where you are in your space, and dishonoring those around you, obviously until you work through balance. But comparing is really just as yuck as regret, because when you compare, you take yourself down. And you've heard people say those stories, back in the day I used to be this size. Back in the day I had more money. Back in the day I had this. Oh my God. Seriously, people? Let's let go of back in the day. You're not back in the day now. When I was 20, I could do this. Well, you're not 20 now. Well, you might be 20. But you're clearly, if you're talking about back in the day when you were 20, you're possibly not. So no one wants to hear that back in the day, back in the day. Well, unless you're in a social circle and they go, oh, I remember back in the day we used to do this, or we used to party there, or we used to do this, or da 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 da. My back in the day is very different, possibly to yours, to everybody else's. Thank goodness social media wasn't around back in the day. Anyway, diversion. Back in the day, nobody wants to hear about it. So let it go. So when I talk about dealing with regret, I started thinking about the things that we can really be regretful of. I know I've talked a little bit about it. So if we go to partners, and I talked about high school or even primary school, intermediate school, I talked about partners. So the question out of all of these is going to be the same one I'm going to ask. What did you miss out on, and are you comparing? What did you miss out on, and are you comparing? So when I think about what did you miss out on, when I talk about partners, is it somebody who checked in with you daily, or when they're at work, or they didn't? Maybe that was even more inspiring. Is it somebody who did that someone else did and now the new person doesn't, or someone did back then and now you don't have someone? Is it somebody who's nurturing you, cooking and cleaning, washing, or I don't know, whatever, that nurture that you call nurture? Is it someone you can offload to? Is it someone you can talk to? When we think about this, what did you miss out on? Is it someone we can talk to who you have a different conversation with now from back then? Someone who can balance your mind, someone who knew you could read the situation. Is it someone who can look after your children? Is it someone who can look after your children? And that might also be, I've got a moth. Was it a butterfly stuck in my window? Poor wee thing, please go. Don't let me see you die there. Diversion. Is it someone who can look after your children? Is it someone who can take the load off? And when I talk about take the load off, that could be anything. Take the load off day or night. Is it someone you can be intimate with, which is different to your last intimacy, which is different to no intimacy? So what did you miss out on, and are you comparing? When I talk about jobs for this, I talk about, guess what I'm going to say? What did you miss out on, and are you comparing? When I talk about that, is there enough challenge in your workplace to learn more? Because there's nothing worse than getting stagnant. It's about learning and growing and evolving and stepping up at each step you possibly can. Is it about those connections? So for me, definitely there was some jobs that I had some amazing people I connected with back in the day, and I learned so much from. And then there's ones that I want to run from. So I'd clearly pick and choose what ones I would associate with. When I talk about that, there was also a job that I had, and one of the beautiful stuff I had was we got extra time in our lunch hour if we exercised. And this was definitely something that I loved the idea of. So when you exercise, you got another 15 to 20 minutes in your lunch hour, and I was all for that. And I thought that was a great way to get me to exercise because they were quite a fit company. And so that's definitely something that I held on to and took on. So what did I miss out on? I missed out on that going to my next role. And was I comparing? I'm not comparing, but it's something that I wanted to put into my business with my staff. the exercise program. Then there's towns and countries, and I talk about towns and countries. So what did you miss out on, and are you comparing? So is there scenery, people, opportunities, any of those things? What the question basically is, what did you miss out on, and are you comparing? Because if you're comparing, it's not great for you. And if you missed out on something that you see, it's just basically looking at where you have it now, where you have it right now. And so when we think about this, oh, hi to my lovely little friend who's watching from, I know where she is. So when we think about these things that we can regret, there's also a couple of others, and there's a social circle. And this is something that we can regret. When someone does something to us, we can walk away and we can cut them and we can carry on. So what did you miss out, and are you comparing? A laughter, challenge, support, what opportunities they are. And I'm getting to a point here. Workshops. This is one that is still occasionally flicks into my mind. So what did you miss out on? Are you comparing? And to me, comparing screams in here. So a friend and I met a mentor many, many, many years ago, and I didn't take them on. And so I didn't take them on, and that person took them on, and they're playing on a completely larger arena than me. And from that, I realized I started to step into jealousy because I wasn't quick enough to make that decision about doing that program with them at that time. Now, that's jealousy. And I can tell you now, jealousy is a big thing in your business, in your world, in your life. Comparing, jealousy, regret, they're all in that same language of ugh. So money decisions. This is another one where I have a regret for, had a regret for. So when you have money, you lose it quickly if you don't value it. When you don't, you seem to be more careful of your money. So, or if we could say careless over careful. So one year I listened to somebody and I bought some shares, and those I paid a large amount of money for shares, and I jumped in on desperation over inspiration, and we all know how that works. And out of that, those shares flopped and I lost a lot of money. And for that, I definitely learned my lesson. So any money decisions now, because of that, I pick and choose and I work through the process I'm about to give you. So basically, it's about any decisions that you make that you regret and hold you back. And when I say hold you back, I think about, are you in your comfort zone? Where you are right now, are you in your comfort zone? Do you want to step out of your comfort zone? And this is a great one. Someone said to me, what is your comfort zone costing you? What is your comfort zone costing you right here, right now? What is your comfort zone costing you? So the exercise I'm going to get you to do is, when we go back to regret, is we're going to go back to that memory that we're holding on to that we have regret of. We're going back to that memory. When you're going to that memory, you're going to put yourself as though you are in that situation. If you're 20 years old, if you are 30 years old, if you're whatever age you were, at that time you're going to pretend you're that age, and you're going to go, what is the value of doing that exercise? Or whatever it is. The exercise is, what is the value of doing that opportunity that you regret? What is the drawbacks of doing that regretful action? So say it's staying with a partner. What is the benefits of staying with that partner? What is the drawbacks of staying with that partner? Back then, not now, back then. What are the benefits of not staying with that partner? Back then. And the drawbacks of not staying with that partner back then. So what you're doing is you're doing benefits of doing it, then you're doing a drawback of doing it, a perceived negative, then you're doing a benefit, a perceived positive, of not doing it, and then you're doing a drawback, perceived negative, of not doing it. 4 things. That is all you're going to do. And you're going to go back to that memory then. And you're going to compare that stuff that's actually going to open up, and you're going to get neutral. You're going to see that everything has value of both sides. And when you get to that situation, of doing it, you're going to be such a different person, because your whole heart is going to settle. You're going to feel very different inside, and you're not going to sit in that chaotic mind chatter. When you get to that decision, it will allow you to let it go. And when I talk about let it go, I'm talking about you're just going to be able to let it go with no chaos, no mind chatter, no sleepless nights. You're going to go, wow, I can totally see that. Let it go. You can move on with ease, move on, let it go, move on. When you do that, you will be more present to what is going on around you right here, right now. And when I talk about being present, you're just going to sit and you're going to breathe, or you're going to stand and you're going to breathe. And there's going to be no past regret and no future thoughts. You're just going to be present to what is. You're going to love where you are right now. Right now, the decision you have of living this life, the way you live it right now, you're going to look at where you are right now. And you're going to love that, which is another form of gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Be freaking grateful for where you are right now. Don't do it till you answer those 4 questions, though. It's really unsexy when people hold on to regret. People will be more inspired to hang out with people who are more inspired. It's really unsexy to hang around people who tell their stories over and over and over again. So if you would like to be more inspired, if you'd like to inspire those around you, do those 4 questions. Let it go, move on, be present, and love where you are right now. That's it. So, dealing with regret, that's how you do it. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, I will see you next week. And have a fabulous day. Have a fabulous night. Thanks for joining me. Over and out. Oh, and this is my cute wee dress from Trelise Cooper. Can you see it? Can't really see it. But anyway, I just had to, do a knockout to Trelise. Thank you very much, people. Love you. Checking out. See ya.